All right, everyone, this is Marco Palmero, founder of Ulysses in Dubai. And in this video, we talk about healthcare acquisitions in the UAE, and more specifically, one of the key challenges that national and international players might face as they start buying healthcare clinics, medical centers, and other medical operations in the UAE. This is a question that we receive many times because a lot of players coming from outside of the UAE are concerned that many of the practices that are in the UAE are going to be heavily nationalized. And what I mean by that is every single culture that is present in UAE is going to rely on specific doctors or specific clinics for their procedures because they trust the person or the provider who is from the same country, the same ethnical background. And I think a lot of times people are concerned that this issue can affect their acquisition strategy, and if they're not aligned with the culture of the clinic or medical center or hospital they acquire, they might face a lot of struggles in integrating into their existing operations. So I will share what my perspective is and what I've seen being reality in the UAE. There's certainly a level of truth when we say that a lot of people still prefer to see a doctor or a physician who is aligned with him from a ethnical standpoint. And that is not necessarily because people are resenting other cultures, but in some cases they're just more accustomed to it. They know they're going to think in a similar way, and in some important cases they can also talk the same language because English is not people primary language in the UAE. Many talk Arabic, Indian and Europeans talk their own languages. So in some cases, people might feel an extra level of comfort in talking the same language with their medical provider and their doctor. In addition to that, there's still some cultural challenges that might prevent a physician of a different ethnicity to see, for example, a woman, which is an issue that is partially getting solved, but in some cases it might still be irrelevant. And so a lot of times I get asked from companies, from healthcare companies that want to buy assets here, do we need to consider that as a red flag or an issue if we look at a particular asset? So for example, if we have a clinic that is fully owned by a certain ethnicity, do we need to worry about that? Well, certainly a clinic that only provides services to a certain community is going to be far more limited than another practice that is more like mixed and integrated. Some of the things that are said about people trusting a certain doctor or a certain provider are not necessarily true because people are evolving, and I've seen a lot of them not being particularly concerned about the doctor they see, provided they get good service out of the deal. The thing is, I've seen many of the healthcare practices that are the most successful having different physicians of different ethnicities in the clinic. I think that is a healthy way of keeping balance between the team, not only because it doesn't create sort of like a closed community within the business, but also because it can fulfill the needs of different patients, right? If somebody has concern about the doctor he's going to see, he can go to a person who's more aligned with his behaviors, ethnical backgrounds, and languages. On the other side, if somebody is not particularly concerned, it's not going to matter really. But what I've seen, at least when we look at opportunities in the UAE where 90% of people are expatriates, is that the most successful clinics are generally blended with doctors and physicians coming from many different places, and that enables them to maintain a healthy business that can serve the entire population independently of the concerns of the patient, right? There are businesses that are fully focused on communities. I mean, I've seen dental practices for Lebanese people, for example, or medical centers only for Indian communities. But those are a bit rare from my perspective, and also less likely to be good deals for a provider that is coming, for example, from Europe or United States, because there are going to be a lot of, a lot of frictions between the two, right? You're basically stepping in as a provider that is coming from elsewhere, and the entire business infrastructure is of one culture. That can create some friction. I've seen a lot of friction happening in the past, and a lot of people leaving that clinic post acquisition. So my experience has been that, generally speaking, the acquisitions and or investments that work the best are the one that they kind of have like a melting pot within the business, because it maintains a good balance and it doesn't create a closed community again within the business. So to address the concern of companies looking at opportunities in the UAE, I would say, yeah, if you can stick to businesses that are equally balanced, that is very good. But it really comes down to how you wish to approach business, because you might also consider, a business that is fully focused on a specific ethnicity because you want to serve that particular community. You're not going to get involved in it too much. So you're going to let people, handle these operations because they know how to deal with that particular community. So it all comes down to what is that you're looking to accomplish. My perspective is that the first case I just explained works the best generally, because it gives people more flexibility. And even if you are a player that is coming from another country of the world, you're still going to have a high degree of flexibility and adaptability. So even the transition is going to be smoother, and after you transition the business successfully, you're going to have a much easier time making changes and potentially rebranding the business, as well as adding new staff that is coming from your home country, for example. So hopefully this video addresses this particular concern, because a lot of times I talk with people who are looking to acquire healthcare businesses in the UAE, but they're concerned that they're going to stumble across businesses that are nationalized, as we say. That might be a bit of a concern, but provided you select the right targets, you're not going to face that issue. And most of the opportunities that I've found have a decent melting pot within the business that creates healthy environments that ultimately enable the business to grow and thrive and not be too closed. So hopefully this video addresses this concern, and I will see you in the next one.